Hello and welcome to this How To Trophies walkthrough guide. Today we're looking at the Done It All trophy in Grand Theft Auto Vice City the Definitive Edition. So this trophy is for getting 100% completion. So we're not going to show you everything, we are going to show you the vehicle missions and a couple of the other miscellaneous missions that you need to get the 100%. So this first one, as you can see, is just south of the Malibu Club or north of the Ocean Beach area, depending on which way you're coming from it. So you just jump on the motorbike and it will start the mission immediately. Here you'll see it gives you a brief outline of what you have to do during the mission, which is just simply pass through the corners and continue to the end of the track. This one actually is a timed mission, so once we activate this first checkpoint we will get a specific time in which to complete the rest of the run. For this you will need to pass through them as quickly as possible in order to get the most time, because the end jump will be a little bit hard and you'll have to line it up, so I would say try and get through this section as quick as possible. You'll also be going over some unique jumps, but they do not count on this. As you can see, it doesn't go into the slow-mo while you're in this mission, despite the fact you are going over the jumps that you will need to complete at a later date if you haven't already for the unique jumps. The bike is pretty easy to control, so you shouldn't have many problems. I would advise though, if it was raining or if the weather is not the best, that you actually just skip the mission, so get off the bike and wait for the mission to time out. Come back again when the weather is much better, because you're likely to have a better run. The weather does seem to affect how the bike handles, which is obviously natural, so give yourself the best possible opportunity. I have actually done this one at night. It's probably not ideal, it's probably better if I'd done it during the day, but here we are. So for this, we're coming up to the last jump now. You have to have a run up, so if you go to the end of this alley area, my bike is already smoking, so again be careful not to scratch it on the way down and get it to explode. So you come up and over this jump and try and stop the bike before you end up going off of the roof, because that is your last checkpoint. And then you've completed the PCJ playground. Congratulations. The second vehicle mission on the first island is Cone Crazy. This one is just behind your original safe house and by the pay and spray. So once you've found the entrance, which is just down here, you'll have to head up to the top level. If there is a stallion already there, you should be able to just get in it and it should start the mission. In the event there isn't a stallion on the top level, there should be one somewhere in the car park, so you just have to grab it and take it to the top level in order to start the mission. So as you can see, I think there might even be two, or just the one over there. And we'll just jump in that and we'll start the mission. So we'll just get in the stallion here and then it should start the mission. It is important to make sure you do pass through the corners in a particular order, because they're a lot easier than if you go in a different way. So once you've got in, we'll start the mission automatically. And again, it will show you a little bit of where some of the checkpoints are and how you're going to get through them. So I think we're going to start off here by going to the left. Sorry, I thought we were going right there. Going left and collecting this first. I go up onto these ramps because this is the hardest one to get right. You'll either end up hitting the cone, which I nearly did there, or you'll kind of fall off the side. So that one is one I always happen to get first, along with that one down the side. This one you can collect just by going into the little area. And again, this one, just need to line it up, just make sure you don't hit any cones, and then that should be what I'm doing here. Is I'm actually waiting until the time runs down. There is a way to get the 100%. There's almost like a little bit of a glitch where you can keep playing this game and kind of chipping some time off, and it keeps giving you a bigger reward each time. Not my favourite way to attempt to do 100% the game and take the cannoli, but I was just giving it a little attempt there. That's all the car missions on the first island, so we're going to look at the first RC race. So this is the RC Bandit race. There is a trophy attached to this, so you may well have done this previously if you were looking for the trophies. You do have to finish first over the 3 laps. It can be a little bit frustrating. The controls are not the greatest on this RC Bandit, and you can get lodged on a particular corner that's coming up about halfway around the circuit. As always, practice makes perfect, so if you do struggle with it, just keep going and you'll eventually get there. once you've learned the pitfalls of the course, you should be able to avoid them. So generally try and keep in the middle of the course, just because the outsides can be a little bit rough or can slow you down slightly. And these corners are really tight, so just watch the speed that you're taking them at, and try to press whatever the explosion button is. I think it might be circle, but yeah, don't press that. This one's another corner that sometimes messes up because it's kind of tight and downhill and off camber. But once you've got round here, again, you have to win, but I wouldn't say it is massively challenging unless you do mess up. So slow and steady would usually beat just going gun-ho, because you're likely to have some issues if you just go like flat out all the time. So there is a couple of laps to complete, so you will get fairly used to this fairly quickly, and this is the first of 3 of these kinds of missions, not all of them in an RC car. Some of them are one of them is in the RC helicopter, and the other one is in an RC kind of barren plane. So you remember these from some of the missions in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So this is the kind of first appearance of those particular remote control elements in the Grand Theft Auto games. So it's just coming round to kind of finish, or at least halfway through. Nearly crashed into that there, just making sure I took that safely. As you can see, I'm not really being challenged by many of the cars from behind, so just try and keep a constant pace and just avoid trouble. And then you'll know when it's going to finish, because you'll get your red barrier there, and there, that's completed. So the second RC race, as I mentioned, is in the parking lot of the North Point Mall. So if you go to the parking lot on the top floor, there will be another Top Fun van. So all of these missions are activated by entering the Top Fun van. This one is the Barren race, as I've mentioned. These planes are a little bit harder to control, as you might have experienced if you've played the famous mission on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where it's incredibly hard to control and you run out of fuel if you're playing the original version. Thankfully, it is slightly easier in the Definitive Edition version. They've nerfed the difficulty a little bit on that, which I'm maybe slightly disappointed about, because if they could nerf the difficulty on that, they could have changed a few other elements as well. But for this, just try and avoid the obstacles. Try and keep as level as possible. It is quite hard because the plane doesn't really want to fly, and there's lots of obstacles in your way throughout this course. So obviously the light stanchions, the trees, etc. You'll have to avoid all of those. If you do hit one of those, you're going to be very lucky to kind of get back and able to fly again. So it is imperative you just try and stay up above the floor, otherwise you are likely to not be able to complete. But you do have as many attempts as you want, and there isn't a time limit for this. It is just counting up the time that you do take. So finishing it in first will just be all you have to do. And again, the opponents aren't really challenging me at this point, so just slow and steady. Make sure you nearly lost control here. And again, once you do get slightly out of control, the plane does get a lot harder to manoeuvre. So try and quickly get it back to a level plane and settle the movement down a little bit. I'm not sure I got that one, but I'll be thankful for it. So as you can see, some of the hitboxes are a little bit generous, which is good, because it can be quite hard to fly this little plane, especially this section where you've got trees and signs. And I've actually hit a sign there, so I do manage to get going again. Again, that's a little bit lucky, as I had a little bit of room to take off, but most of the time you won't actually have that. But it does show you that the opponents are not that close behind, so you can be afforded in making a little bit of a mistake along your route to the end. This one is a little bit longer than you'd like, because it does take a bit of concentration to keep the plane going, but the end checkpoint is this purple one, and there we are, we've passed the RC Barren. The final RC mission is on the second island in the airport area. So if you go kind of to the left when you go to the normal airport area, you'll find the Top Fun van parked here. And this is one of the more difficult RC missions, the RC Raider pickup. So what you have to do in this one, rather than, well, you do have to fly through the corner still, to be honest. So just make sure that you don't crash too much, because your helicopter will explode and you do only have one helicopter available for this mission. So as you go along, just be careful. Again, you're not massively under a time limit, so you don't actually have to finish in a certain amount of time. So it's just about finishing the course in its entirety without blowing up the actual helicopter itself, which is harder than it might seem. So try and avoid the things that are moving, in terms of don't fly into that satellite dish. That'll be suboptimal, should we say. The controls on this, again, are not particularly great, but it is a remote control, so kind of realistic to how it would actually control. The next checkpoint, I think, is in between these ramps that I've never seen on a real airfield before. If you have, then let us know in the comment section below. I'm pretty sure they don't generally have random jumps on most airports in the world. Just moving on to this next one that's on top of the hangar. You could pretty much do this mission at any time you want during the playthrough, so as soon as you've unlocked the second island, you can just go and do that immediately. I would advise, as I would with all these missions that we're going to look at today, advise writing down or taking note of what you have or haven't completed, although it does show in the stats on the pause menu. So you do have that as an option, but I would also just write it down just to confirm that you've actually done it and completed it, because it can be quite hard to work out completely the 100% completion. There are a couple of things that you need to do that won't show up in that list, so again, just good to write it down and have that note of reference in case you are missing something at the end of the game and you're wondering, well, what is it that I've actually missed. But hopefully this guide will help you get most of the kind of miscellaneous vehicle bits that you need for the 100%. Hopefully you're enjoying this guide. If you are, please give us a like, a share or a subscribe to us here, not only on YouTube but also on social media. We're on X or Facebook at the same How To Trophies. We're also on PSN, again at How To Trophies, so feel free to give us a follow on there and see what we're doing and what videos could be coming up next. Just working our way back to the start now with the 10 checkpoints that are remaining. This next one is under the ramp over here. This one could be quite hard to spot, to be honest, as it is kind of hidden away under the flap of this. I don't know if it's like for a jet. I don't know if that's what you need to propel a jet. I assume it would be, but there are no jets in this game. You have to wait for San Andreas until you get the Hydra, which is the first jet in the series. Obviously be careful, as I mentioned, not to blow your helicopter up. It can be quite easy to damage it on some of these obstacles, and if you do, it will blow up fairly quickly. This is not obviously one of the quicker ones, and will take you, I guess, maybe sometimes 1 or 2 attempts to eventually complete it. All depends on your ability to control the helicopter, and try not to go too fast. If you do try and go faster, then the helicopter is able to go. You do end up crashing a lot more. There's a certain skill to the kind of pitch of the helicopter that you have to use, so you have to play about a little bit with that to find out the best way that works for you. And obviously you've got to use your up and down controls, so it's about a mixture of having the right altitude and the right pitch of the helicopter to move forwards, but not obviously hitting the ground. A bit like that. Don't do that. That will eventually lead to your helicopter kind of turning into smoke and then eventually exploding. We'll make our way over to the next obstacle, which I think is in the middle of the unique jump, which is this sign here. So I think we just have to slot our way in between for this ring here. That one's quite hard to see. Blue on blue is not always the easiest to spot. And then we're going to go over to this next one with just the 4 remaining. We're already at about the 5-minute mark for this, so that would be, I guess, a decent run Between 5 and 6 minutes is probably your ultimate end time. The last couple of rings are in between the shipping containers, so it can be quite difficult to get to those. But we'll get there shortly as we just make our way back towards the starting area. You do end where you started, so it's kind of a full loop. So another one that's underneath one of these platforms or jet blast backs, I guess we'll call them. I don't actually know what they're meant to be for. If anybody knows, give us a comment in the comment section below. That'd be great. And then just this last one on top of the roof, and then as mentioned, one in between the shipping containers under this roof. So this one gets fairly frustrating if you do manage to unfortunately blow your helicopter up. The camera isn't the best on this one, as you can see, but eventually managing to navigate that and then completing it. So we're going back to the first island now for the chopper checkpoint. So this one is in Ocean Beach. You will need to jump onto this roof with the motorbike that is here. This will get me a particular unique jump, so you may do this, or you may have already done this as your unique jump. So this is a good one that you can get out of the way pretty early if you're wanting to, or you can just wait until all the jumps are needed to be done. So I'll actually complete the jump this time, so that will count for my 5th jump on this occasion. We're going to get out and we're going to fly the little buzzard that's here. Obviously, a sparrow. It's a sparrow. I'll get it right. So there are 4 of these chopper checkpoint missions. Again, there is no specific time limit. Just make sure you fly through all the checkpoints and bring it home, essentially, is what you need to do. So it is quite tight within the buildings, so don't go too fast. There's no real need for any special time. You don't have to beat any time. The time is just kind of irrelevant. It's just about completing the course, so don't rush, unlike what I am here. Obviously you got to maintain the correct pitch and height, again much with like the RC ones, although it's a bit easier with these this bigger helicopter, as it's actually a little bit easier to control than the littler ones that we've just been in control of. Although it's not the best helicopter to control, that's obviously. The Hunter, in my opinion, is really easy to control for such a massive beast, and obviously has a couple of guns on it, so that's always good fun to start having some fun with that. So just making our way around the course. Just make sure you get all the rings. Again, if you miss one, you can always just go back and get it. There's no real time pressure on this. Just try not to destroy the vehicle. Obviously, these helicopters will help you if you are trying to find the hidden packages. So I would advise, there's a video on the channel that will show you where all 100 hidden packages are, as well as all the unique jumps and rampages. So if you are looking for those that also count towards the 100%, please check those out, as I said, currently on the channel. So this one is a little bit tight, as we just have a little bit of a bad angle approaching it, but it's fine. The last one is this red one here. Just avoid this tree, and then we're back around again, and the course is completed. As I mentioned, all the courses should be shown in the start menu. At least the finish time should be shown. So that's, should I say? So we're now on our second chopper checkpoint mission. This is the one at Vice Point, which is located in the middle of the map in this grassy area. Again, it's much the same as the first one. Just fly through the markers and complete the course in the time. Just don't essentially blow your vehicle up or exit it. So don't press triangle either, otherwise that'll be game over. Well, at least mission over. Not quite game over, is it? This will probably be the last of the Grand Theft Auto Vice City videos that are going to be made, and then we'll move on to GTA San Andreas as we complete the entire Definitive Edition collection here on the channel. So if there are, if you do want videos for GTA 3, those videos are also available on the channel, and some more videos for GTA San Andreas will also be upcoming. We do have some already on the channel, but I'll be doing the Similar to the ones I've done here, so the snapshots, the horseshoes, I can't remember the other collectibles for San Andreas, but I know there are a few, so we'll be doing all those videos shortly to come, so watch out for those, and hopefully we'll help you complete this before we get to GTA 6, which should be arriving fairly shortly, depending on where you are in the timeline, whether you're watching this immediately or whether you're just picking this up a little bit later. But hopefully you are having a good time with this video and it's helping you to achieve what you need to do in terms of either finding these missions or completing these missions. So we are most of the way around the course now. Again, you just make sure you are in control of the helicopter at all times. Try and keep above the buildings until you really need to, and then just kind of drop down in order to collect the waypoint. There's no need to fly for all of the time at the level of the checkpoint. So for this one, it's just behind you, and the last one is red again. So just collect this red one, and then that should be it for the mission. Was a little bit, didn't think I'd quite caught that there, but a little bit generous. So we're going to move on to the next two, which are on the second harness. This one is right by where you get the mission for the G Spotlight. So if you've done that mission, you'll be able to know where that is on this little ledge here before you go up into the elevator and start the jumps for that particular mission. Again, just avoiding the buildings. For this one, some of them are quite low. That one especially is very low, so just be careful with that as you descend, and try and keep as high as you can before you actually have to descend in between any of the buildings. Another tricky one here, where it's in this middle of this compound that you also have to be in for the mission Hogtied, so it should be slightly familiar. There's also a package in there, so you might have visited that previously, or this might be your first exploration of the downtown area. Interesting to know when you actually did these, if you kind of like to do these first or if you like to leave them right until the end. I guess unlike San Andreas, where you have a system where you have to level up the skill for each element, there isn't really a skill element based in Vice City, so it means you don't really have to upskill anything before you can start just completing each of the courses, which is good in many ways. This one again is a little bit tight because it's in between. Just watch that staircase there, and then we're going to head towards the G Spotlight jumps and go back in between the buildings. So again, this one is quite hard, so just try and stay kind of in the middle there. If you go much lower, you'll hit your rotor blades on a little ledge there. Then we're going to go down and just collect this one, coming back towards where we started. We've kind of looped around now, back under this street, and we should be coming to completion shortly. These don't last too long. I think this is the second to last one, and the last one will be in the trees over here, and that's the third one of the chopper checkpoints completed. Again, you want to get £100 for each one, so it's not like it stacks over time, so it's not something you're going to get massive amounts of money from, but it's something that does need to be completed. And the fourth one is on top of a little building in Little Haiti. This also has a unique jump attached to it, so to get on this roof, you may need to have done the unique jump, or you could just fly there as you've opened the second round anyway. You could get a chopper from your actual Heyman Kondo base in order to access this one if you don't want to do the unique jump that leads to that roof. The thing about this one is that obviously you've got the gang members from the Haitians. If you finish those kind of gang missions, they may start shooting at you if you get too low, so try not to stay low if you have completed those missions, because like I said, the Haitians or the Cubans, or both of them, will definitely shoot at you, so that will avoid any kind of unnecessary damage or taking unnecessary damage. Although unlike sort of GTA 3, they don't have the kind of weapons that the Mafia have, for example. Whenever you went through St. Mark's after going to the second island, that was always a real challenge to not avoid getting blown up with the amount of shotguns that the Mafia had in St. Mark's. So luckily, they don't quite have the firepower to do as much damage to your helicopter in this particular run. Again, there are some low ones, so try and stay above everything, then just drop down towards them as they appear, and you should be pretty safe. So I've done this one fairly quickly. Just try and stay in control of the helicopter, obviously, because if you start banging into things, it will start to smoke and then obviously explode if you do too much damage to your vehicle. You can obviously start them as many times as you like. They do. The helicopter does respawn in the same place, so if you do fail, you could either just reload and go back to the original start place, or you can just go back to the original start place, depending on whether you get wasted by the explosion or whether you get away. So that's the fourth one complete, and we're going to move on to the stadium missions. So all of these are at the stadium. As you can see, this signpost or this signboard at the entrance will tell you what is on that day. You must wait until 2000, and that's 8 o'clock in the evening, for the doors to open up so you can access. They will change each day, so what I would suggest is once you've done this, you go save at the condo, and then you can come back and hopefully the next one will be available. This one is a destruction derby type affair, so you have to collect the yellow icons. Hopefully you'll collect them fairly quickly because it gets harder as the time goes on. As you can see, the computer can collect them as well as harassing you and just generally running into you and trying to blow you up. So you can see the car health is also on the right hand side, just under the time. So it can be a little bit of luck as to how you manage to complete this. If the checkpoints just happen to fall closest to you and you don't happen to have any competition at the time. So here I've done quite well. You only have to get to 1 minute, so therefore I have won. The game will stop, and that's that one completed. Now we're going to move on to one of the harder stadium missions. So again, 2000 hours or 8 o'clock at night for the dirt bike missions. Now for these, you have to go through all of the checkpoints. You don't have a time limit, thankfully, otherwise this would be much harder. Just make sure you get through all the checkpoints to complete it, and that'll be it ticked off as a thing to do. It can be quite hard, and some of these ramps I'm going to really struggle with, so you'll see me with a few edits during this in order to keep it together. I think it took me around sort of 15 minutes to complete this in real time, although we'll see at the end what the timer says, if I remembered that correctly or not. The tip is take your time, don't rush into things, and get a little bit lucky sometimes, like I did there. You can go around in logical order, or you can just try them and then move on. I'm not sure why I didn't get that. Some of them you do have to wheelie to get, or you have to kind of... There we are. That'll get it. So just try and go around collecting them as you want. It's up to you. There's no real order, but I kind of like to try and collect them all in one area first before moving on. Although there is quite a few. There's quite a few to collect. If you do want to exit, you can just go to the waypoint to your side there, and you'll exit. But you also obviously failed the mission. But if you're not having a fun time, then feel free to exit through there. As you can tell, this one isn't the easiest one. You do have to jump. There we are. Make sure you get through it. And then we're going to move on to some of these ones that are on the walls or on top of these cars, which are the harder ones. It's not like you need to collect anything to save your time, so just, as I say, go around in an order that suits you. If you try something a couple of times and you don't manage to get it, maybe you want to move on, or maybe you just want to continue. Stay on the same obstacle until you've completed it. Also, you might need to either pull up on the analog stick to kind of pull the front of your bike up and do a wheelie to get over some of these obstacles. This one is one of the hardest ones to do in this course, so I've kind of abandoned it after that first go. Again, this is another one that's particularly complicated, just because you've got to line up that second bridge, and that probably took me a good few minutes to complete. These the wooden planks can be quite unforgiving, and you can slide off them, so they're a little bit rounded on the edges. So I don't know if that's something that has happened in the conversion from the original to this remaster. I know that was something that happened with Crash Bandicoot. If you look at the kind of older ones, have almost better hitboxes than the newer ones, just because of how that's been remastered. I can't quite remember whether this course was as hard on the PS2 port or not. Coming to kind of a few of the last checkpoints now, there's a few easy ones that we can get just in the middle here. I prefer to, as I said, just try and go at them in a slightly logical order, but you don't necessarily have to collect them. Just collect them in the order that you like, or that you find the best. You could just go all the way around this kind of infield track and collect them all to start with, and then move on to the harder ones later. As to be fair, most of the rings are in that particular area, the biggest volume, because we're already down to 7 to go. So we've got a couple of walls to ride on, and then a couple of obstacles with the kind of crushed cars. That wall is pretty simple. Again, this is another one, that kind of car ramp obstacle. I found it easier to actually get on the second obstacle, as it allowed me to kind of move backwards and forwards to try and get on this. As you can see, it can be quite a balancing act. Eventually you should be able to just drive up. Again, it's just mainly about patience, so just try and be patient with it. If you don't get it first time, just try again. If you're getting frustrated, just move away. You could try again at a later date. That's what I find is best, because if you start to get frustrated, then you're probably not going to be able to not going to be able to pick up the target, because frustration doesn't give you like a clear head in order to complete the task. So yeah, if you are getting frustrated, my advice would be move on and come back to that at a later time. We are down to just the 2 to go now. So this one on top of the cars. Again, anything where you need to mount the cars, I would advise kind of tipping your wheel maybe down on the analog stick to bring your front wheel up slightly, and that should allow you to ride onto the cars and ultimately there onto the back of the bus to collect that. Now I've missed one, so the last one I think is in one of the loops. Yes, it is right there. So we're just going to go and we'll pick that up as our last checkpoint, and we'll complete the dirt bike mission. As I said it was about 15 minutes, so we're going to be on about 14 and a half by the time we do this first loop the loop. So it does, I'm pretty sure I've done it quicker than that before, but it just depends on how you're feeling and how it goes in terms of whether you manage to get some of those balancing beams correct. So the third mission that you need to do in the stadium is the hot ring. So this is like a destruction derby mixed with an oval race. You do have a repair station there on the right, so if you do find your health getting low, you can actually repair your car, although sometimes you will just end up losing the race by actually repairing your car, because it takes quite a while to repair even just a little bit. The thing that I really don't like about this particular race is that even if you take out the cars that are on the track and you're first for ages, sometimes the second or third cars will just come out of nowhere and just overtake you, or if they've been wrecked, they'll come out of the restart, which is annoying when you've been leading for so long and then suddenly you maybe get spun round by something or something happens. and then you're instantly like not first anymore. So you can see I'm actually sat in second at the moment. I've got about half my health left. I think there are 12 laps to do, so these laps tick down pretty quickly. Try not to obviously hit anything and avoid any cars that are exploding, and try and get out of any cars that do come across your path. Obviously sometimes it won't even be possible, and this is one of the more frustrating missions that we will do kind of in this in the stadium and in the missions in general, just because of how it works. So I'm still somehow in second despite passing what seems like a load of cars. I'm assuming that this guy in front of me is first. Again, just keep an eye on the amount of damage you've got on your car. As you can see, I'm actually quite low here, like below a third of my health left. So if I did happen to hit something, then I probably would be likely to be taken out of the race. And I would advise you do save after each of the stadium missions, not only because it'll pass the time in the game, but also because you may need to reload. Especially this one and the blood ring are the two. The dirt bike one can be done kind of at any point, so you don't have a time limit, whereas the blood ring and this one, if you do fail it and you do exit the stadium, you will have the next version of whatever the next day event is in the stadium. So I've now managed to overtake that first place person who was there for quite a while, and now I'm first with a few laps left. Just try and keep out of trouble. I mean, whether you manage that or not is a little bit of pot luck. So again, just if you do have to restart, just restart from the save and come back to the stadium, and try not to try and avoid as much of the action as possible. Just as you see it unfold in front of you. That was easier for me to say. I got a little bit lucky maybe there, because I am very low health, so if I slam into the wall one more time I will be set on fire. Unlike your opponents, not components, unlike your opponents, you don't get a second try as they do. So there you can see it was about 3 minutes 20 for that particular finish, but we've got that completed. So there are a further 2 missions that you can do from the outskirts of the stadium. So there's a little dirt track here, as you can see, and there's a Landstalker and a dirt bike. So they will go the opposite way around this particular circuit. So this Landstalker goes in, this will be counterclockwise or anti-clockwise. This one is particularly like easy, but the Landstalker can roll, as you will know if you did Ride in the Park on GTA 3. It can just be a little bit unstable on some of the cambers that we've got on this particular circuit. But I would just say, like most of the other challenges on this video, there isn't really a time limit, so you just kind of go around at your own speed. Don't be too quick, and you probably complete it faster than if you try and rush it. You do have to do, I think, a couple of laps. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, just go around picking up the checkpoints, and this one is pretty simple as long as I said, you don't try and rush too much. So we're coming back to the start now. Do we just need to do one? No, we need to do another lap. So you do have to do the second lap on these particular ones. Nothing changes for the second lap, so just take it slow and steady. Be careful over this next kind of lumpy obstacle. Don't get to the right or left, otherwise you will roll the car. Don't turn too early here, again, otherwise you will roll the car. Can be quite sensitive, but some will say that's a plus, and if you get that reference, lucky you. Nearly tipped it over there, managed to get up on 2 wheels. So if you do get up on 2 wheels, just either, you've got 2 choices there. You could either kind of steer into it and hopefully it will rock back down again, or you could just shut off all the controls and hopefully the momentum will just allow it to fall back into place. But yeah, so if you are being careful, you should be able to save being on 2 wheels at any point. And that's the test track done. And then just if you park up next to it and we'll do the trial by dirt. So as I mentioned, it's the same thing but the opposite way around. This one is easier because you're not likely to fall off the bike at any point. So just attack this one as you like, and you should be able to finish this a little bit quicker. As you've already just been on a dirt bike as well, if you've just done the stadium missions, you should be well aware of the handling of the Sanchez. The dirty Sanchez, maybe. So as we come towards the end of this video, there's only another couple of things that we're going to be doing, and there won't be anything to do with vehicles. So there's one that will really help you in terms of you could do it if you could do it as soon as you get to the second island, and one back on the first island which most people will miss, to be fair, so wait for that right at the end of the video, because I bet you might not have got it, or you might not have tried it. So we'll just get round the last bit of this test track, and then hopefully it's not much of a trial by dirt, is it? We're just kind of riding round. These missions aren't, I'm going to say they're not exactly the best. I don't think they deserve to have a percentage. There isn't a lot to them, but it's just about getting that 100% at this point. So let's just collect the final checkpoints, and then we'll be moving on to the next thing in the video. So just nearly losing it there, getting a little bit too enthusiastic on that jump, but nothing too harsh. So we'll just continue through to the end, the last couple of checkpoints, and then we'll move on to the rifle range, which will be the next thing that we're going to do, as we just collect the last checkpoint here. And then we'll show you what we're going to do for the rifle range. So this is in the ammunition in the downtown area. If you go into the back, you'll notice that you can shoot at a few targets. So move into the pink kind of waypoint. And then the top tip for this is do not waste any bullets. So what you'll see I'm going to do here is that the 3 targets are going to come out and they're going to move left to right. I'm actually going to concentrate on the furthest away target, as that gets you the most points. So each section of the furthest away target gets you 3 points. You will need quite a high score for this, and you will probably need to use all of the bullets. So I would advise trying to work on the back target as much as possible. Don't worry if you do take out the front targets, but once you get them to 1 piece remaining, I just leave them with 1 piece until the end. So really concentrate on picking off that back target, as that will get you, as I mentioned, 3 points per bit of the target, which is, I think, the only way to actually complete this. So make sure your aim is good and that you can see the back target. So as you can see, I'm just leaving this one in front that's just got the head left, with the secondary one having the head and body, which I guess I'll eventually end up hitting anyway, but I'm just deliberately kind of trying to get the most points from this. Once you complete this, it will give you the ability to reload quicker, so it's helpful if you do this as soon as possible, to be honest, because then it will give you a little bit more. So as the back target is worth 3 points, that is why we're focusing on it. So you have to completely eliminate all of the target to score the points. So I'm up to 24 at the moment, with the score to beat being 30, but actually the score to beat the actual game to get the mission complete is much higher. So we're going to just take out the second target there to give me more to aim at for the third one. Again, just concentrating on building, on taking out that as soon as it comes out of the hole in the wall, so anticipating it arriving, and then picking off the head first, followed by the 2 torso elements and the 2 lower elements. I found that the easiest way to go. You may find it easier to go up, just find your own rhythm. And now I know that I am not going to probably be able to complete another one. I decided to just shoot for as many points as possible. So you see I've got 45 points, which should give me the mission passed, and there it will unlock fast reload at the bottom. So the final one, which you may not know about, is that you do have to spend $300 at the strip club. So this is located on the first island, just below the safe house. So to do this, simply just go and enter one of the back rooms. Take a note of the number of, or the amount of currency you have at the time of your entry. Make sure you've spent $300 and then come outside. Thank you for watching. I've been Dan. This has been How To Trophies. Take care and hopefully we'll see you soon.